Welcome to Wrestlemania.
Ooh, yeah! I am the game! Woo!
Yes! I will give you a show like you have never, ever seen before. Why? Because I
the best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be.
You will rest in peace. And what you're gonna do when the whole world falls? I mean, destroy
and that's
you.
the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold says it.
Hello all, welcome to another edition of your boy Alyx WrestleMania Review Series. We are looking at Wrestlemania 2000, aka WrestleMania 16, the 16th edition of our Wrestlemania series here, and a lot of people don't like this show. People call it, if anything else, a disappointing show because of the main event and other things about the show. It didn't live up to the quality of what WrestleMania should be. I don't agree with that. Matter of fact, I think the show is pretty solid. There are a lot of things about this show that were way too good for it to be disappointing. And if the main event is the only thing that made you feel like it wasn't worth your time, I'm sorry, I think that's pretty... what's the word I'm looking for? It's pretty short-sighted. Now, I agree that the main event should have been The Rock versus Triple H. If you look at their match at Backlash 2000, that was an amazing match. I dare say a classic. And what ended up happening in the main event, we might as well have just made it The Rock and Triple H. And I agree with everybody else saying that. The main event, the right main event for WrestleMania 2000 was Rock versus Triple H. We didn't get that match. But to say this show suffered because of this match, and ignore all the other great things we had an amazing triangle ladder match. We had a good triple threat match between Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, and Kurt Angle. A lot of good stuff happened on this show. I can't say it was a bad show. I'm not going to be that person. If you guys want to say it's bad, go for it. But your boy Alyx thought WrestleMania 2000 was a solid show. Couple of details before we get into the matches. By 2000, WWF had eclipsed WCW. It wasn't even a competition anymore. Seriously, WCW was currently at this time being run by Vince Russo, without Vince McMahon filtering his ideas. Dear God, was it bad. Even ECW was going through a rough patch, because TNN was censoring them and they weren't able to be the violent promotion they were. So when you think about it, the only good wrestling show to watch in 2000 was the WWF. And if you're a wrestler and you're not in WWF, you are not having the best time in wrestling. We saw a lot of new talent debut at WrestleMania. The names include Kurt Angle, Edge and Christian, Too Cool, Sky Too Hottie, and Grandmaster Sexy, as well as Rikishi, thank God. Because I think Fatu, that's his real name, he found himself as Rikishi. Nothing he ever did topped Rikishi. We also got the Godfather and his hoes, Taz, who came in from ECW, the Dudley Boys, Crash Holly, Hardcore Holly, Chris Jericho, Chris Benoit, Perry Saturn, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, the Hardy Boys. I'd be here forever. So many talent. I mean, even China saw a rise. I mean, China became a two-time Intercontinental Champion around this time. Yes, she was wrestling men. They moved her up from women to men. It was a great time to be a WWF fan. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is probably WWF's best year. Now, one person that was not on this show was The Undertaker. I think Taker was out on injury. What injury it was, I have no idea. He does return next year in an amazing match. We'll talk about that next time. Another person not on this show, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who was also out on injury. And his was a little bit more serious. This is around the time where Austin's neck injuries really started to bother him. It's the same neck injuries he's been dealing with since he got injured in 1997 by the hands of Owen Hart. It was an accident. It is what it is. However, it really hurt his career. Not too long after this next run that's coming up, he calls it a day. His neck issues really take a hold of him. And it's sad. He doesn't have a long career, but he has probably the most impactful career out of any wrestler that I've seen. But they did an angle. Around this time, they had someone run over Stone Cold Steve Austin, Survivor Series 1999. And when he does come back, we continue that angle. And that angle is amazing. He interferes in matches, he stuns people, and the one who did it, if you need a hint on who took out Stone Cold Steve Austin, here it is. I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. I did. Oh, shut your mouth, you throwing wearing fatty! Around this time, we also had the McMahon-Helmsley regime. The McMahons have to be the most dysfunctional family to ever enter wrestling. So, where do I begin? Stephanie McMahon turned on Vince. She married Triple H. Storyline-wise, they weren't really married in real life this time. But storyline-wise, Stephanie turns on Vince. She marries Triple H. They basically take over the company because Vince McMahon leaves and goes on hiatus because he can't stand the fact that his daughter betrayed him. As a result, we see months and months of Triple H getting his way, and then Vince eventually returns, attacking Shane McMahon and hitting him with a steel chair. And among other things, Stephanie McMahon slaps her mom. It all comes back because Linda ends up slapping Stephanie, which was hilarious. I'm telling you, the McMahons in 2000, some of the best TV. Mick Foley retired this year. Retired. This was the final year of Mick Foley being an active wrestler on the roster. The next time you see him, or the next times you see him, he's just coming in as a part-timer. He comes in for a few matches to feud with this guy or this guy, and that's it. He leaves. He does that a couple more times. One of them is Randy Orton. The other one is Edge. I think he does it with one more person. I'm not too sure, but yeah, he retires somewhat. He had that amazing feud with Triple H. Those two matches, the Hell in a Cell and the Street Fight. Amazing. Some of the best matches Triple H has had. And he's had plenty. But those two are probably in the top 10. Top 10, absolutely. I did love Mick Foley as the commissioner. I thought he had an amazing run as the commissioner of WWF. It was short, but it was cool. WrestleMania 16 was 3 hours and 30 minutes long, just a little bit closer to 4 hours than usual. It debuted on April 2nd, 2000. The arena was the same arena in WrestleMania 12. Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, California. Attendance, 19,776. Commentary, Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler. Ring announcer, Howard Finkel. Although Lillian did debut on this show, she just didn't ring announce. She sung the National Anthem. Such an amazing voice. Such an amazing performer. Period. Now, in the near future, she does start ring announcing. So, this will be the last year it's just Howard Finkel. Interviewer was Kevin Kelly and Michael Cole. So, with that said, let's get to it. First match was a tag match. You know what time it is? It's time, once again, for everybody to come aboard the train. The Godfather and D'Lo Brown took on Bull Buchanan and Big Boss Man. Look, I love Godfather, and that gimmick is one of the greatest gimmicks in history. Love the women. The match, it was okay. Not the best match to open the show with. In fact, it was kind of boring. I also don't talk a lot about D'Lo. I should. He's one of those talents that should have gotten a lot more respect, because he was an awesome mid-card champion. He just didn't really stand out among others because he came in during a time with The Rock, Austin, Val Venus, and look, even now, Kurt Angle, Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, he could not live up to their popularity. I feel bad for D'Lo. Not because of him, he just came in at the wrong time, man. Big Boss Man and Bull win the match. Next up is the WWF 24/7 Hardcore Championship 15-minute Battle Royal. I loved it. It was all kinds of fun. Alright, it makes sense to at least tell you who's in the match. Let's just go ahead and get it out the way. The champion going in was Crash Holly, and he took on the debuting Taz. Viscera, who was Mabel back in the day. Do you care? No. The Mean Street Posse, Hardcore Holly, Kai and Tai, that's Taka Michinoku and Funaki. Indeed! The Headbangers and the APA, who were the Acolytes at this time. That's JBL, Bradshaw, and Farouk. It was all kinds of fun. I personally love the 24/7 Hardcore Championship matches. They just made some good TV. It was good for TV. I turned off my brain and enjoyed the carnage. if you're expecting a technical masterpiece, you're looking in the wrong place. This was all kinds of ECW craziness. The only blemish on this match to me was that botched ending. So there was a screw up with the final pin because Crash Holly was pinned by Hardcore Holly, but he clearly kicked out. So Hardcore Holly ended up winning the Hardcore Championship. Now, you should know that Crash Holly does get it back not too long after this because of the 24/7 rule. It's just, that ending was weird. It wasn't done very well. What also wasn't done very well was this tag match. It was Al Snow and Steve Blackman with Chester McCheese. Don't ask. Don't ask. Let's just get on with it. They took on TNA. Not the company TNA. They took on Test and Albert with Trish Stratus. I'll be real with you. The only thing entertaining about this match was the few minutes Trish Stratus was on television. Yeah. Let's just get on to the next match, because the next match is outstanding. This is the first of many tag matches to come from these three tag teams. The Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, and Matt and Jeff, the Hardy Boys. They fought in a tag team championship triangle ladder match. Not quite a TLC match, but the beginning of it. If you haven't seen this match, please go out of your way to see it. For the longest time, these guys set a new bar for tag team wrestling. And in terms of this match, they took a lot of risk. It took a lot of bumps. They broke a lot of bones. And it paid off, man. Most notably, this is the night Jeff Hardy did his first ever Swanton Bomb off the top of the ladder. Believe me, it's an outstanding match. Edge and Christian become your new tag team champions. The future matches these three have. This includes the SummerSlam 2000 TLC match, the first ever TLC match, and then the WrestleMania TLC match, which we'll talk about next time. Those matches are even better than this one. Be ready to get your mind blown if you haven't seen them. We see Kat getting ready for her match, and guess what? She's naked. Luckily for Kat, there's a ton of convenient censorship provided by Mae Young. We see Kat turn around, and Mae Young just so happens to hold up a t-shirt to block her, just to tease the audience because there's a lot of teenagers who are horny. But that Kat fight, I'll say this. Terry Runnels versus the Kat with Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young in their corners, and Val Venus as the special guest referee. Look, it's an excuse to see two hot women wrestle. Well, not even wrestle, fight. So in terms of getting the crowd excited, in more ways than one, it did its job. We saw Terry Runnels in a thong. What is there to complain about? We got the Radicals, Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, and Perry Saturn, taking on Too Cool and Chyna. The match was centered around Chyna and Eddie Guerrero, as it should be, because shortly after this, we began the Mamacita and Latino Heat relationship. One of the best love stories in the entire WWE history. Solid match, Chyna and Too Cool win. Moving on, we got, let me make sure I get this right. A WWF Intercontinental and European Championship 2 falls triple threat match. I think I got that right. Kurt Angle versus Chris Benoit versus Chris Jericho. The first fall is for the Intercontinental Championship. The second fall is for the European Championship. Now, Kurt Angle. This was his debut year. And I dare say he had one of the greatest debut years in history. In 2000, using his 3 eyes, intensity, integrity, and intelligence, he won the IC Championship, the European Championship, he won the King of the Ring, and he won the World Championship from The Rock. One of the greatest debuts in history. Now, it should be said he's not using the ankle lock. He wasn't breaking ankles. He was breaking arms because he used a cross-faced chicken wing provided to him by Bob Backlund, who was his manager for a short time. Regardless, the match was good. Look, I know Chris Jericho says it was a disappointing match in his autobiography, but it was still a good showing from all 3 men. I mean, the stipulation was weird. Maybe the issue was they expected to have a better match than this, which I can understand. If this match was done in like 2002, it would have been an outstanding match, because that's when those 3 were killing it on the main roster. Alright, next up is Road Dogg and X-Pac with Tori versus Kane and Rikishi with Paul Bearer. This is when X-Pac turned heel. Let me stop for a minute. Turning X-Pac heel was the stupidest turn they ever did. Because it ruined him. The term X-Pac heat, it comes from the fans absolutely hating X-Pac. Because after he turned heel, there was no coming back from it. And it sucks because this guy at one point was the most popular member of DX. And now he's a joke. He became a joke after he turned heel. I hate it. I don't like the fact that he turned heel. It was stupid. But the match itself was average. And then we have Pete Rose once again go out in a chicken suit and receive yet another tombstone from Kane. 3 in a row. 3 WrestleManias in a row. But we also got Too Cool going out there and doing the dance. Look, I love Too Cool. I especially loved their dances after the match. It was so fun. It was such a good time to be a fan of WWF, man. Alright, main event time. A McMahon in every corner. WWF World Heavyweight Championship, no DQ, 4-way elimination match. That's a mouthful. We got the champion himself, the Game, Triple H with Stephanie McMahon, taking on Mick Foley with Linda McMahon, Big Show with Shane McMahon, and The Rock with Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Despite my complaints about the main event not being The Rock and Triple H, this was still a good match. Both Big Show and Mick Foley were gone almost immediately, and the majority of the match was done by Rock and Triple H, which again, why wasn't it The Rock and Triple H to begin with? What I appreciate about this match is, for the first time in WrestleMania history, a heel won the main event. Because usually, we send the crowd home happy with a babyface winning at WrestleMania. We didn't do that this year. No, the heel won. Triple H beats The Rock after Vincent Kennedy McMahon turns on him because he's an asshole. Post-match, The Rock assaults the McMahon-Helmsley regime. And then the cherry on top. The Rock rock bottoms Stephanie McMahon and gives her the people's elbow. Awesome. This was a long time coming. See, when Stephanie turned on Vince McMahon, the woman went months being the absolute most bitchiest character that you have ever seen. Fans were salivating for her to get her comeuppance. See, unlike Stephanie nowadays, that Stephanie in 2000 got her comeuppance. As annoying as she was, I was able to tolerate her a lot more because she got her comeuppance. So, look, I enjoyed WrestleMania 2000. We got some great moments here on WrestleMania 2000. Some that we remember as some of the best moments in WrestleMania history. So I can't say it was a bad show. It was solid. That's my opinion. How do you feel about it down below? Thank you guys for watching. Next time, we look at what is the greatest WrestleMania ever. WrestleMania 17. I'll see you then. Your boy, Deluxe Man, signing off, and Deluxe Man's World. Peace.